This is session 9. Hello students. In previous class we discussed what are the substitution reactions and nucleophilic substitution reactions, how the reaction proceeds, that we discussed. Now we are going to discuss how many types of substitution reactions. In that nucleophilic substitution reactions, particularly nucleophilic substitution reactions based on the nature of alkyl halide. Nature of alkyl halide means methyl, primary, secondary, tertiary, allyl, vinyl, phenyl, benzyl, which type of alkyl halide that is, or aryl halide that is. Along with that, strength of nucleophile, whether it acts as good nucleophile or some other one means like base, how far it is acts as a nucleophile, what concentration we are going to maintain. By considering all these, there are mainly three types of substitution reactions, nucleophilic substitution reactions. They were designated as SN2, SN1 and SNI. Abbreviation of SN2, substitution nucleophilic bimolecular. Now you can guess SN1, substitution nucleophilic unimolecular. And what about SNI? Substitution nucleophilic intramolecular, within the molecule. So there are mainly three types. Beyond of that, a few other types also there, like SN1 prime, SN2 prime, like that. Regarding that we will discuss later. Mainly these three. And SN2, nucleophilic substitution bimolecular. Let us see regarding this SN2 reaction and mechanism, how it proceeds. In this case, one alkyl halide, generally alkyl halide reacted what we called substrate, attacking of nucleophile. Nucleophile is a Nu minus here mentioned. Maybe it is negatively charged or neutral, whatever it may be, but it should be electron rich, and it has a tendency to attack upon electrophilic carbon, means halogen containing carbon. So I am going to use a nucleophile. It attacks upon halogen containing carbon. In which way it come and attack? From rear side, means exactly back side, rear side. So rear side attacking is possible here, and X minus departs. Here when nucleophile approaches slowly to the halogen containing carbon, in other words leaving group containing carbon, leaving group means X minus, this is product, this is leaving group. So when nucleophile approaches that electrophilic carbon, leaving group is going to depart slowly. It do not takes place like first of all X has to leave as X minus and carbon exists as C plus, means carbocation, and later a nucleophile come and attack, not like that. Here X has to depart very slowly. Slowly CX bond is going to polarize as X minus, and carbon bears positive charge. Whenever carbon bears positive charge, nothing but it is saying welcome to the nucleophile. Then the nucleophile, being it is electron rich or negatively charged or neutral one, whatever it may be, it is electron rich. Obviously it attracted by the positive charge which arises upon electrophilic carbon, halogen containing carbon. Then this nucleophile come and attach to the carbon. Slowly it approaches. Whenever it approaches slowly, it slowly departs. Then we are getting nucleophile consisting product. Let us consider an example. I am considering here methyl iodide, in which H and I are board containing plane, and one is back side of the board, another one is towards ourselves, and OH minus approaches to the leaving group iodine containing carbon here. Here since leaving group take out bond pair of electrons, means it is going to leave as negatively charged one as I minus. A resultant here positive charge arises upon this carbon. Upon this carbon, whenever positive charge approaches, obviously it attracts the negative charge. That's why this OH minus approaches from rear side. Now why it is approaching from rear side? Why not from front side or from some other 90 degrees angle? Not like that. Why you are saying rear side, rear side? What do you mean of rear side? So rear side means if leaving group is departing in one direction, with respect to same direction, attacking nucleophile approaches, nothing but angle in between these two, they try to maintain 180. Why they are maintaining 180 bond angle? In between leaving group means departing group and attacking a nucleophile, why 180? If you observe clearly, you can understand that. The leaving group is departing by taking the bond pair of electrons, means it comes out as a negatively charged one. And the approaching nucleophile also being electron rich, whether it may possess a negative charge or a neutral, whatever it may be, it is electron rich. So the departing one means leaving group also electron rich, and the approaching one means a nucleophile also electron rich. When both are electron rich, obviously in between these two repulsion is maximum. To minimize the repulsion, these two are always trying to move far away from each other. That is maximum is 180. That's why they are maintaining 180 bond angle. Hope you got the point here. Because of leaving group or departing group possess a negative charge and attacking group also possess a negative charge. When both are having, means this one is electron rich and this one also electron rich. When both are electron rich, obviously in between these two maximum repulsion exists. To minimize that repulsion, these two groups, means a departing group or leaving group and attacking group or nucleophile, both are maintaining maximum distance. That's why angle in general we are saying 180. Now one more point here. Here, as we discussed, initially I do not comes out as I minus and there is no existence of carbocation. When I comes out as I minus slowly, that means when Ci bond is going to break slowly, then OH minus approaches to that positive charge. So to what extent this bond is going to break? To the same extent carbon oxygen bond is going to form. So this, how much slow this one, that much slow its approach also. How much fast leaving group, leaving tendency, that much fast only attacking a nucleophile, attacking tendency. Both are simultaneous. So this step, intermediate, proceeds via formation of one transition state intermediate. There is no particular carbocation intermediate, no carbanion intermediate, no free radical intermediate. There is no intermediates. So here intermediate, if anything is there, that is nothing but a transition state. Strictly we can say without formation of any reaction intermediate like carbocation, carbanion, such thing, and mechanism proceeds via transition state. Let us see how the transition state exists. So here departing group is departing as I minus and OH minus attacking to the electrophilic carbon. If you observe here, this carbon do not have any positive charge. Simply when I minus pulls the bond pair of electrons, what extent negative charge arised here, upon this iodine, and the same extent of positive charge will be arised upon this carbon. Means upon electrophilic carbon the same extent of positive charge arise. But in order to compensate or in order to neutralize, the same extent of negative charge again will be transferred from OH minus to carbon. That's why this carbon do not possess any positive charge or carbocation character. Here ultimately this transition state possess only negative charge, partial negative charge upon leaving group means iodine and partial negative charge OH group means attacking a nucleophile. Here it do not bear any positive charge transition state. Now if you observe here, around carbon how many bonds are there? 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5. If you observe here, it is very clear, in between departing group and attacking a nucleophile bond angle is 180, just we discussed over there. And these three remains as such like the what we call one plane. This is pentavalent. What it is? Pentavalent. 5 bonds are there. 5 bonds containing carbon it is. Means pentavalent transition state we have to say. Pentavalent transition state. Now, which upon further I minus completely departed, it comes out as I minus and OH minus attacks from rear side. So it is very clear why rear side attacking only, to minimize the repulsion in between attacking a nucleophile and departing a leaving group. And this mechanism what we called concerted mechanism. So concerted mechanism means bond breaking and bond forming takes place at a time. It's not like before bond breaking takes place, later bond formation takes place. Just like earlier, first of all it has to leave the leaving group and the attacking group slowly it comes. Not like that. All bond breaking and making takes place at a time. That what we called concerted step. So SN2 mechanism is concerted mechanism. SN2 mechanism is concerted mechanism. So we are getting only one product. We are getting only one product. Let us see whatever the points we learned so far. We'll discuss once again. Mechanism proceeds via single step. So sir, you wrote here first step this one, second step this one, not like that. Don't consider like that. This is not step. This is only transition state. As I mentioned that this is not intermediate. If it is intermediate, then you may consider as one more step. But here it is not intermediate. So it is completely single step. And remember that the transition state, whatever we are writing here, we mentioned that you never isolate. You cannot isolate that. So it is our prediction. Mechanism proceeds via transition state is our prediction only. But you cannot see the transition state. You are not supposed to get any appointment of transition state, right? So here only via formation of transition state. Why sir? Because of high energy. Transition state is the maximum energy point. Transition state is the maximum energy point. And rear side attacking. Yes, back side attacking. That already we discussed that. Why rear side attacking? To minimize the repulsion between leaving group and attacking or approaching nucleophile. Via pentavalent transition state. Yes, here pentavalent transition state. 5 bonds are there around carbon. So how sir? Carbon has maximum only 4 bonds. But you wrote here 5 bonds. No, this is a transition state. This is not the product. So this is a transition state. Okay. So here these two, one is departing, another one is approaching. You are not supposed to consider here 5 bonds like that. It is pentavalent transition state. And concerted mechanism, transition state, not a discrete molecule. It is not a discrete molecule. You cannot isolate that. And there is no intermediate in this reaction. No intermediate in this reaction. Now, if you observe energy profile diagram, say this is reactants, energy, substrate plus nucleophile, and its energy increases up to here. This is what we call the transition state, nothing but pentavalent. H. This one is a leaving group and this one is a nucleophile. So leaving group departs by taking electrons, nucleophile approach by donating electrons, and like this. This is energy of products. Now this is what we called activation energy, and this is nothing but delta H. Since product's energy is less than reactant's energy, we can say this reaction is exothermic. So how sir? Because of strong nucleophile displaces weak nucleophile, that is exothermic. Strong nucleophile displaces weak nucleophile. Being strong nucleophile in product, the formed bond is more strong, means more amount of energy liberated. Whereas in reactants, the bond in between carbon and halogen is weak. For that, what energy we have to provide? That is relatively less. So less energy we provided, and we are getting more energy by formation of bond. Hence, we can say this is exothermic. Delta H is negative. And transition state, as I mentioned that this is the maximum energy point. Now reactant molecules or substrate molecules have this energy, and until here it has to go. That means whatever the height of this peak, that much reaction is slow. In other words, this reaction is a slow step. As we mentioned that slow step means rate determining step. Slow step means a rate determining step. Being rate determining step, here rate is equal to say K is proportionality constant, or we have to write like this: rate is proportional to rate depending upon both concentration of substrate and also nucleophile. Hence rate is proportional to what we have to say: substrate concentration and also nucleophile concentration. So both substrate and nucleophile concentration influence the rate of reaction. So how do you know? This one you have to get experimental observation. When you double both the concentration of only concentration of substrate, then rate double. If you double only concentration of nucleophile, rate double. If you double both concentration of nucleophile and substrate, then rate increases 4 times. So like that, by making different experiments, we came to one conclusion that what we call rate law. So rate law is experimentally derived. We are not going to derive theoretically. This one is experimentally derived. In order to remove this proportional relation, we have to use constant K. Rate is equal to K into concentration of substrate and concentration of nucleophile. Now it is very clear. First order reaction with respect to substrate and first order reaction with respect to nucleophile. So overall order of the reaction is the sum of the powers or indices of concentration terms in rate law. So 1 plus 1 it is equal to 2. So here second order reaction, this reaction is SN2 reaction is second order reaction. Now in rate law, how many molecules are going to take part? One is substrate, another one is nucleophile. Being 2 molecules are going to take part in this reaction, hence it is what we called bimolecular. So substitution nucleophilic bimolecular. Here nucleophilic substitution takes place and its rate is, in its rate law, 2 molecules are going to take part. That means bimolecular mechanism it is. Order is 2 and rate of reaction depends upon both concentration of substrate and concentration of nucleophile. More and more the concentration of substrate, more and more the reaction rate. Now OH minus when approaches to the leaving group containing carbon, this leaving group containing carbon also called electrophilic center. This electrophilic center facilitates more to attack that incoming nucleophile. In order to facilitate that particular electrophilic center must and should possess less hindrance, less crowding. If it possesses more crowding, means more number of alkyl groups are there, then what happened? Here alkyl groups are basically electron releasing, means electron rich species, and whenever these instead of hydrogen, if you are going to keep alkyl groups, then they are going to oppose the incoming nucleophile, which retards the approaching of OH minus towards electrophilic center. Resultant substitution decreases. 10 minutes అయిపోయింది. Let us consider an example. Here carbon consists one methyl group, one Br, say one hydrogen and one deuterium. This carbon now attached to 4 different groups. That's why we can say this carbon is called chiral carbon. Now attacking nucleophile, let us assume OH minus. It approaches from rear side. Now I am going to mention this one as plus or D, whatever. OH minus when approaches here, it forms pentavalent carbon transition state. Here Br is slowly departing as Br minus, OH minus slowly approaching to the electrophilic carbon, and methyl, hydrogen and deuterium as such. This is what we are going to say transition state. Later this Br has to depart completely slowly and OH is going to form complete bond formation slowly. Resultant we are getting CH3OH H and D. So in such scenario, here Br is departed, Br is displaced by OH. It is very clear if the substrate is plus or D, then the product what we are getting, that will be minus or L. This product formation what we call inversion of product. So in SN2 reaction, inversion of product takes place. This inversion what we called Walden inversion, also called umbrella inversion. Just like umbrella shape is going to change, like from here to here. This is what we call Walden inversion or umbrella inversion. But this inversion you can notice instead of that, if halogen containing carbon is not chiral, so such Walden inversion or umbrella inversion we can notice in case of substrate consists only chiral carbon. Such Walden inversion or umbrella inversion we can notice if substrate molecule consists any chiral center. Of course, that carbon also halogen containing carbon. Now I am going to consider one more example here. This carbon attached to 4 groups, say X, Y and Z, and this fourth bond is with carbon. This carbon consists some iodine, say, remaining 2 are hydrogens. Now in this case this carbon is not chiral, but this carbon is chiral. So in such a case, substrate, even though it has a chiral carbon, but halogen containing carbon is not chiral, that's why we cannot notice any inversion of product. For example, if it is a D isomer, or if it is R isomer, whatever it may be, then this one upon treatment with OH minus, that substitution takes place here because of I minus is good leaving group. Resultant what product we are going to get here? X, Y and Z. All these 3 group remains as such, there is no change here, and 2 hydrogens here, H and OH plus I minus. So can you notice any change here? This carbon chiral carbon remains as such. Earlier it was D, right now also it is D. There is no change. Now because of substitution, if group's priority is going to change, suppose we mentioned that this is D or R, and because of I displaced by some other group which has more atomic weight or atomic number, in such a case group's priority changed, that we should consider. You have to take that precaution and you need to verify really inversion is there or not there in such a case. Now I am going to take one more case. In that case there are 2 carbons here, leaving group containing carbon is chiral, say remaining 2 groups are A and B, and adjacent carbon also chiral, say remaining 3 groups are X, Y, Z. I am going to mention that this carbon is R and this carbon is S. Now because of SN2 reaction, nucleophile approaches from rear side. Here SN2 mechanism, obviously inversion of product takes place. Then what we are getting here, adjacent carbon chirality remains as such, there is no change in its optical activity, and this carbon optical activity is going to change as some here A, B, here A and here nucleophile like this. So as we mentioned, this one is S, it remains as such, whereas earlier this carbon was R, you mentioned like that, now it will becomes S. So these 2 are S and R, now these 2 are S and S. These 2 are nothing but dash stereomeric pair. So earlier there are 3 cases I used to mention here. First one, if leaving group containing carbon is chiral, then we can notice that inversion of a product means if we consider D compound, then you will get L. If you consider plus, you will get minus. If you consider R, you will get S, like that. And in case 2, substrate consists chiral carbon, but leaving group containing carbon is not chiral. Some other carbon is chiral except this carbon. In such a case, there is no change in chirality of this carbon, and because of reason is nucleophilic substitution takes place at leaving group containing carbon, but not some other carbon or which possess chirality. That's why we cannot notice any inversion. Here we can say retention of a product. And case 3, here leaving group containing carbon also chiral, along with that adjacent carbon also chiral, means some other carbon also chiral. In such a case, substitution takes place only at leaving group containing carbon, but not other carbon. That's why this carbon retains its stereochemistry, that means S remains as S, whereas instead of R, because of inversion of configuration, we are getting S. This is regarding SN2 mechanism and what factors influence SN2 mechanism.